Before we start the video, I would once again like to remind you that this video is not made for kids. It's for older fans of the show and adults only. Don't you fucking dare to object or you get hedgehog spines up your fucking ass. Molly's prickly pals. Molly is still running the Kirk Ronan branch line after the incident with her cousin Alfred. After that said incident, the Fat Controller decided to conduct an extension of the Peel Godred Electrification to Kirk Ronan, with the help of Österreichische Bundesbahn. The Fat Controller having gone to Vienna to negotiate the funding and many other agreements with the Austrian railways. In the meantime, Molly was still running the trains, as well as Rebecca, who was running the semi-fast trains to Kirk Ronan. One night, Molly returned to her shed. Her driver looked glum. "I'm sorry, but I've got bad news for you, Molly." "What is it?" "George the Steamroller is gonna be working around this yard." "Oh no," sighed Molly. George was to be working on a surface improvement around Kirk Ronan Yard. Molly felt dismayed. She had heard everything about George. "I just hope that he doesn't cause too much trouble round here." "Well, he shouldn't," said Molly's driver. "The foreman will keep a good eye on him, I assure you." "Oh well," sighed Molly, and slowly she began to drift to sleep as her driver and fireman went home for the night. Hours later, Molly was asleep, where she began to hear some noises. She opened her eyes. "What's that?" she thought to herself. "Sniffing? I can't see anything. Hello? Can I ask who that is?" No one replied. The sniffing kept continuing, followed by little scurries. Probably hearing things. It's just not worth worrying about them. Oh, come on, just get back to sleep. I'm sure I'm just hearing things." Molly did go back to sleep. But then, less than an hour later, she began hearing them again. Okay, I'm probably not hearing things. There's some sort of animals of some sort, I think. I just can't make out what they are. It's just too dark. If only the light was on, then I would be able to identify what animals they were. Anyway, just ignore them and go to sleep. The next morning, Molly's driver and fireman came over to find her looking worried. "What's up, old girl?" asked the driver. "I heard these sniffing noises last night. I don't know what they were, but they were around my shed. I just couldn't make out what they were. I couldn't see any shapes or anything. It was just so dark." "Sniffing noises, you say? Obviously it has to be some sort of animal." "That's right," said the fireman. "We don't have time to worry about it now." And he stoked Molly's fire and got her ready for her first train. Molly kept thinking about the noises she'd been hearing that night. She later found Rebecca at Kildare. "What's up? I've been hearing these sniffing noises around my shed. I don't know what they are. They're some sort of animal. My driver thinks so too. It's some sort of animal. It could be badgers, rabbits, hedgehogs, skunks, weasels. Any one of those is possible." "How can it be badgers?" asked Molly. "If they were badgers, they would be burying insects under the trap and we'd know." I suppose you're right about that one." Then they were interrupted by George, who was on his way to Kirk Ronan yard.
Railways are no good, put 'em up, turn 'em into roads, put 'em up, turn 'em into roads. Railways go fuck themselves, yeah!
That lout. He's going to be working in Kirk Ronan yard. Well, there's one thing you can do, replied Rebecca. Just ignore him. Galloy said the same thing to me. They've had enough trouble with that road roller. Anyway, I must be going now. I'll see you later, probably at Kirk Ronan or somewhere. As Rebecca left, Molly kept thinking about the sniffing noises she'd heard in the shed. That night, Molly tried to sleep, but she kept listening out for the sniffing noises. And indeed, she heard them again. What's that? Hello? Hello? Little creatures? Little critters? What critters are you are? No, I don't think animals can talk, can they? Hello? What type of animals are you? Then Molly felt something moving on her bumblebee. Something spiky. Whatever they are, they're spiky. Are they, hedgehogs, echidnas, porcupines? What other animals have spikes? Oh, no, I've got to ask driver. Molly's driver and fireman arrived the next morning, still finding her concerned. Tell you what, Molly, said her driver. I'll stay the night with you, and I'll have my flashlight with you, so when you hear them, wake me up, and I'll investigate. I have a hunch that these critters are those that come out from the myrtles or something. Myrtles? No time to explain, said the fireman. Let's get to the station. The first train is due to depart. And just as they were about to leave, they heard George ranting, raving, and cursing in the yard. George better not be behind this, said Molly. I doubt it. What does he know about these animals? And then they set off. That night, Molly's driver settled down in her cab, while the fireman went home to his family. As I said, wake me up when you hear the sniffing noises. I wish I was back home with the wife, but I'm doing this for you, Molly. Anyway, where's the Kazi? I could do with having a waz. Later, it happened. Molly heard the sniffing noises. Driver, wake up! You've heard them, Molly? Yes, I have. I can hear them just now. Right, I've got my torch. The driver stepped down from her cab, turned on his torch, and then... Well, it answers your question, Molly. Hedgehogs! Hedgehogs! Oh, how lovely! The hedgehogs found Molly interesting, and they were crawling all around her. I think the hedgehogs have taken a like to you, Molly. I'd say the same. Oh, they're so adorable. Well, but after work tomorrow, do you think we could build a little hedgehog home? Well, that'd definitely be a good idea, said the driver. These little critters need somewhere to live, and I think they'd make a lovely home in your shed. The next morning, Molly found George grumpier than ever.
Why am I working at this yard? Why am I working at this railway yard? I'm supposed to be flattening railways, turning them into roads.
Well, there is something that might cheer you up and stop you raving about railways.
And what would that be?
Well, I found a family of hedgehogs in my shed. They were so curious around me, crawling around, seeing what I was?
Hedgehogs are no good. Turn them into pancakes.
George charged towards Molly's shed. No, you don't! Molly wished at George. And then he lost control and slammed into a wall. You will not be harming any hedgehogs with your egotistical roller! The Fat Controller then arrived.
George, I've heard from the foreman about your behaviour in this yard. And I've also heard that you've threatened to harm hedgehogs that were residing in Molly's shed.
What do you mean?
Don't play dumb with me,
said the Fat Controller sternly.
It is clear that you've not learnt your lesson from last time. Once you've finished your job here, I will have your roller removed and I'll be sending you to Whiff Waste Dump until you learn to behave.
Motherfucker! cried George.
Language!
Molly's driver fulfilled his promise, and then he had a little house for the hedgehogs built in her shed. And Molly was very happy to see them as she returned from work, and the hedgehogs crawled out for the night. However, as the electrification processed on, Molly realised that she wouldn't be staying forever with those hedgehogs. So, she cherished every moment that she spent with her new prickly pals.
Why am I on this fucking job?
As a punishment for bumping those trucks too hard in the yard. And by the way, you're not the only one punished. George has been sent to the waste dump, so consider yourself lucky.
Shit!